Hi everyone, I want to welcome you to the TYICC Podcast. Look, it's been a while we released our first episode, and I could attest to that fact. I had a couple of WhatsApp messages, DMs, just to verify when is the first episode going to come out. Now here we are. However, before I even continue to talk about our first topic for the first episode, I would like you to do us a favor by at least subscribe to this YouTube channel, all right? And let people know the good news that we are bringing to the young people outside there. It would be so selfish of you to just enjoy this content alone without others also benefit from it thereof, all right? So just go a step further, subscribe right now. I'm watching you, subscribe right now, all right? Share, like, and give a comment so that YouTube can also show others what we want to bring to this generation. I'd like to just cut the chase and to just discuss about what does it mean for someone to be in crisis. All right, you hear us talking about the young in crisis. You know something about someone who is young or who is a youth. All right, that's someone who's full of energy, who's full of vigor, who's full of vitality. But when it comes to crisis, what does it mean? All right, is it a normal saying that we say that normal people just talk about it, or there is more to crisis than it meets the eye? All right, is a problem and a challenge and a crisis the same, or there are some differences? And I would like us to just build this foundation even before we talk about other topics in this podcast. That this podcast is solely and basically to talk about crisis relating to the youth and nothing else. Every crisis you can talk about, from relationship to vision to purpose to ideas to finances to drafting and documenting a vision. What crisis are the young people, the young ones going through as it pertains to their life? That's what this podcast is really about. So today, just to bring a foundation, is that we're going to talk about what crisis is. But before that, I would like to bring a clear difference between what a problem is, what a trouble is, and what crisis is. All right? Number one, what a problem is. Number two, what a trouble is. And number three, what crisis is. So to begin with, what is a problem? And I would like to define from my research I did that a problem is a challenge or a difficulty or an obstacle that needs a solution. All right, so it is a challenge, a difficulty, or an obstacle that needs a solution. It also means that it may be small or big, but usually it may be managed with normal efforts, planning, or resources. Okay, so that is what a problem is. That it is a challenge, it is a difficulty, or an obstacle that needs a solution. Or it may be small or big, but usually it can be managed with normal efforts, planning, or resources. All right? But if we talk about trouble, what is trouble? Okay? So a trouble is when a problem becomes heavier. All right? It becomes heavier, it becomes more stressful, or starts causing real discomfort. Okay? I want to take it again. That a trouble is when a problem becomes heavier. That means it holds much weight. It is more stressful or starts causing real discomfort. It can also be more than a challenge. It disturbs your peace, slows you down, and creates worry. So, for example, if you consistently fail in your exam or in your job, you'll be troubled. All right, this no longer becomes a small issue. It will be pressing and worrying you. So that is a trouble. But when it comes to crisis, it is much more heavier than it meets the eye. So a crisis is the peak or a turning point where a trouble becomes urgent. So when an issue or an event in our lives becomes urgent, dangerous, or life-changing, it is often a situation where immediate decisions are needed because things could either get better or even worse. So a crisis is much more heavier than a problem and a trouble. So with crisis, it needs immediate attention. It needs immediate remedy. It needs immediate sort of action to find a solution to it. So when we talk about the young ones who are in crisis, we are talking about the young ones who need immediate solution. That a young guy who is hooked up on pornography, look, how can the young one be helped? That is a crisis. A young one who is purposeless in life, how can that young one be helped? That is a crisis which needs immediate attention. So the young ones are not in trouble. The young ones are not in problem. The young ones are in crisis. That means that they need an immediate action to be taken to bring a form of prognosis to their challenge or to their crisis. All right. So a crisis is not just a problem; it is a decisive moment where everything is on the line. All right. It is a decisive situation or moment in our lives where eminent action is supposed to be taken. All right. So number one, a problem is different from a trouble. A trouble is different from a crisis. And now our base today is going to be on crisis. But how important is crisis? How necessary is it for us to really address crisis? That is it that we can just walk around it, or it needs immediate, urgent look at? All right. And listen to me, crisis is very, very important, because crisis can make or unmake you. Your response to crisis is very, very important, because if you respond to it as something that will break you, indeed it will break you. But if you see it as a turning point, as a point where you would have to use it for your own good, but not for it to break you, then that is when you are responding to crisis in a positive way. So for instance, someone who has been hooked on drugs for a very long time, and the person needs immediate attention or immediate remedy. At that particular point in time, that crisis can break the person, because in his or her mind, he has been on that for a very long time. So the person cannot even imagine himself or herself coming out of that problem or that challenge. But when you see it as it going to be used for something positive, something as a testimony for others, that look, regardless the times that you have been on this particular thing, there can be a solution out. There is a solution out. You can't be hooked up on something forever, except you want it to destroy you. Okay? So I want to bring a story to really bring the message out of this episode. That, for instance, imagine you on your way to school, and all of a sudden your pen stops working. All right? Maybe you are working on an assignment in the bus and your pen stops working. Listen, that is a problem. All right? With that problem, you can just find a pen, write, and you are good to go. But when you are in the car and you realize that you have forgotten your homework at home, that is a trouble. You have graduated from a problem to a trouble. Because at that particular time, you'll be wondering, if you get to school, your teacher will be asking of the homework and you've left it at home. At that point, your teacher might be upset, he might be vexed that you haven't brought the assignment. However, you can maybe ask for permission to go back home and go for the assignment and bring it. So that is a step further. That a trouble, you have troubled the teacher, and the teacher is discomforted one way or the other. And so are you discomforted, because you are supposed to bring up a story just to solve that issue at that particular time. But when it comes to a crisis, just imagine you are on your way to school, and right after you got down from the school bus, you heard that the school bus got an accident. All right? And some of the students got injured, and some of them had to be rushed to the hospital. Some of them, God forbid, even lost their lives. At that particular time, that is a crisis. That needs immediate action and attention. And if you don't find that solution to it at a particular point in time, it might break you. All right, so we are talking about something very, very important. That, Look, the young ones are in crisis. Believe it or not. That recently I even heard of a story of a young guy who's about 24 years old, no, 19 years old, and he has purpose in his heart to sleep with 16 different ladies, and he has slept with even more than that. Now, just imagine this young guy eventually gets married, has kids. What will be the fabric of his marriage? How ideal is his marriage going to be if a solution is not brought eminently? How? A young guy who's hooked on pornography for about 12, 13 years, and he cannot stop it. Eventually he gets married. How is his marital life going to be? How is it? All right, so we're talking about a crisis which needs eminent solution, which needs immediate action. All right, so if this has blessed you as it has blessed me, please, I really want you to share this to other people for them to know that we are talking about crisis. All right, crisis that young ones have to know that we are in it. How are we going to even solve it? What is the solution to this? Is it even solvable? Is it even possible that we come out of it, or we should just bury ourselves in it? All right. So again, this is the TYICC Podcast. If you have not subscribed, please, I ask of you to subscribe, like, share, and comment, so that the YouTube algorithm can also show others as well. All right. If this bless you, I will see you going in next Monday. God bless you. Bye bye.